The moment a thought is born, it begins its journey into the unseen currents that shape our days. In the mystery of these invisible laws, there exists a sacred interval, brief as a breath, swift as a spark, when the mind issues its decree and the universe bends, ready to obey. In those first 7 seconds of intention, the whole field of creation listens with absolute attention. It listens not to our fears, nor to our wavering doubts, but to the clear, vibrant pulse of what we dare to declare as true. For every word we speak, whether aloud or within, is a seed dropped into the fertile soil of the infinite, and the moment it is planted, forces beyond our sight begin their work. So many people imagine the universe as slow, distant, or hesitant. They wait for signs, for proof, for permission. They whisper their desires as though speaking to a stranger. Yet the divine is not a stranger, nor is it separate from the very mind that imagines. It responds instantaneously to conviction, to faith spoken with certainty, to the quiet but unwavering command of someone who understands that life is not happening to them, life is answering them. Those who grasp this truth do not plead, they pronounce. They do not hope timidly, they expect with calm authority, knowing their word sets invisible gears in motion. When you realize that the first 7 seconds after an intention are like a spark encountering dry tinder, you begin to choose your thoughts with reverence. You learn to claim only what you desire and release any shadow of fear, as though brushing dust from a garment. You speak as one aligned with the great law that whatever is affirmed with clarity must eventually shape itself in form. Every word is a command, and every command, when issued with faith, summons the right circumstances, people, and possibilities. The universe does not respond to force, it responds to inner alignment. A command is not strain, struggle, or effort. It is the still, calm declaration that what you seek is already yours, that the path is prepared, and that the unseen is now arranging everything in perfect order. In that serene certainty, doors open, delays dissolve, and outcomes shift in your favor in ways no logic could predict. These 7 seconds are the birthplace of miracles. They are the moment when the inner world casts its mold, and the outer world begins to take shape in accordance with it. Whoever learns to master these first moments becomes a deliberate architect of their experience, shaping life with the same quiet confidence that the sun has in its rising. So let your command be clear, bold, and rooted in unwavering trust. Speak not from longing, but from knowing. Declare what is yours by divine right. In those 7 luminous seconds, the universe listens, and it responds instantly. The universe responds instantly to clear, unwavering intention, for intention is not merely a wish or a fleeting desire. It is the energetic signature of certainty. When a mind holds an intention with complete clarity, without contradicting thoughts, without the shadow of doubt, without the tremor of fear, it becomes a focused beam of spiritual authority. This beam sends a signal into the infinite, vivid and unmistakable, and in that very moment, the unseen forces begin their work. The response is not delayed. It does not wait for the perfect day, the right mood, or a more convenient hour. It answers at once, receiving the imprint of that intention and setting into motion the currents needed to bring it forth. Most people believe that life requires struggle, force, or ceaseless effort, yet they overlook the most powerful tool they possess, a thought held with unwavering certainty. A clear intention is an instruction given to the creative intelligence that governs all things, and this intelligence is immediate in its obedience. When the mind speaks from confusion, contradiction, or fear, the universe receives mixed signals, but when it speaks from clarity, the message is unmistakable. Clear intention is like a straight path cut through the forest, direct, open, unhindered. The moment it is formed, the universe begins to travel that path toward manifestation. Unwavering intention is not loud or desperate. It does not strain, bargain, or plead. It rests in the calm assurance that what is commanded must be prepared. Think of a seed planted in fertile soil. The seed does not question whether it will grow. It simply embodies the blueprint of what it is meant to become. So it is with intention. A wavering mind plants a seed one moment and uproots it the next, but a steady mind plants its desire once and trusts the process without interference. The universe responds to that steadiness. It mirrors that confidence. It moves instantly because the command given is firm, and firm commands do not scatter energy, they concentrate it. Clarity is a form of power because it removes opposition within the self. When a person knows exactly what they want, the mind ceases to debate. The heart stops hesitating. The inner dialogue becomes silent and aligned. This lack of internal conflict creates a channel through which the creative forces can flow unobstructed. In that moment of total inner coherence, the universe receives a signal so pure that it must respond in kind. Even before any physical evidence appears, the shift has already taken place in the unseen, and the outer world begins adjusting to match the inner decree. To hold an unwavering intention means you have embraced the reality of your desire as though it were already present. You no longer argue with appearances. You no longer consult fear. You no longer dilute your desire with doubts disguised as caution. Instead, you speak and think from the place of already having, already being, already receiving. This state of mind is magnetic. It draws to itself the exact conditions that correspond to its vibration. The universe operates by law, and one of its highest laws is the law of correspondence. What is held within must express without. When your intention is unwavering, the correspondence is immediate. Instant response does not always mean instant physical manifestation, but the moment your intention becomes clear and firm, something in the structure of reality shifts. Invisible threads rearrange. Opportunities begin to move toward you. People are guided in your direction. Circumstances align, often in ways that seem uncanny or impossibly precise. That first instant of unwavering intention is the spark that ignites a chain of events, though the unfolding may appear gradual. But the response itself, the energetic acceptance of your intention, happens in that very moment. Many unknowingly cancel their intentions by revisiting doubt. They declare what they desire, and then, moments later, question whether it is possible. The universe hears the doubt as clearly as the intention, and because it responds to certainty, the mixed signals produce mixed results. But when a person holds a single, undivided belief in the fulfillment of their intention, their word becomes law to the very substance of creation. In that state, the universe cannot contradict them, for they have aligned themselves with the principle that thought is causative and must bring forth after its kind. Unwavering intention is a quiet command rooted in faith, and faith is the bridge between the seen and unseen. Faith is not blind, it is visionary. It knows that everything begins in the invisible before appearing in the tangible. When you form an intention with absolute clarity, you are shaping the invisible. When you refuse to waver, you are sustaining that shape until it emerges in your experience. The universe responds instantly because your intention acts as a mold, and the creative energy flows into whatever mold you hold steady. To navigate life with intention is to move as a co-creator rather than a passive traveler. It means recognizing your word as a force and your focus as a magnet. A scattered intention sends weak signals. A clear one sends a directive. The universe is not selective in its obedience. It responds with equal immediacy to fear or to faith. Thus, the one who masters the art of holding intention without wavering becomes a master of their path, drawing to themselves the resources, opportunities, and outcomes that align with their chosen direction. The universe responds instantly because clarity is power and conviction is the language creation understands. The first 7 seconds of thought set creation in motion, because the mind, at the moment of forming an idea, sends forth a vibration so potent, so concentrated, that it becomes the blueprint from which reality begins shaping itself. These initial seconds are the purest state of thought, untouched by doubt, unclouded by second-guessing, unaltered by the analytical mind. They are the spark before the story, the decree before the explanation, the seed before the shaping. In these few seconds, the thought exists in its most powerful form, raw, unfiltered, and energetic enough to call forth the unseen forces that begin organizing themselves in response. It is in this brief moment that the universe receives its first and strongest instruction. Most people speak or think without awareness of the power held in those first moments. They allow fleeting fears or casual negativity to drift through their minds, unaware that the universe listens to that initial impulse with the same attentiveness it gives to their deepest desires. The first 7 seconds act as a stamp, a mark of intention, a signal sent into the infinite. When the thought is one of faith, clarity, and certainty, the stamp is strong and precise. When the thought is muddled or fearful, the stamp carries that confusion. Whatever is impressed upon the mind in those first seconds becomes the pattern that divine intelligence begins to replicate. This is why a thought born in confidence carries more creative power than a thought repeated 100 times in doubt. The universe responds to the purity of the initial impulse. Once the first vibration is released, forces begin moving, aligning, rearranging, and attracting circumstances that correspond to that thought. It does not require the mind's continuous strain or repeated effort. It requires the clarity of the beginning. These early seconds are like the moment a stone is dropped into still water. The ripples that follow come from the initial impact, not from any effort afterward. Once the stone has entered the water, the motion continues on its own. In these 7 seconds, the subconscious mind also awakens to instruction. The subconscious is the fertile soil in which every thought takes root, and it is most receptive in the beginning of an idea. A clear thought held for just a few seconds can begin reprogramming patterns that have stood for years, because the subconscious responds to intensity and clarity far more than to repetition without belief. When the first impression is strong, the subconscious takes it as a command. It begins searching for ways to fulfill it, opening the door to intuition, guidance, and inspiration that align with that initial impulse. Many people unknowingly use these powerful seconds against themselves. They react to circumstances with fear or assumption, and the first thought that arises is often one of worry. In that moment, the universe receives the signal of fear before the person has time to correct it. Later, when they affirm positivity, their words carry less influence because the initial vibration was already set. This does not mean one is powerless. It simply reveals the importance of mastering the first moments of thought. By guarding the mind, by choosing its first response consciously, one becomes the architect rather than the reactor. To understand the potency of these seconds is to step into a higher relationship with creation. You begin to observe your thoughts before speaking them. You choose your interpretations before allowing emotions to take form. You become deliberate in how you respond to life, knowing that the beginning of a thought is the place where reality takes its cue. When something unexpected occurs, the individual who understands this principle pauses, centers themselves, and forms a clear thought, not of fear but of command, assurance, or faith, and the universe responds to that clarity. These 7 seconds operate like the setting of a compass. The tiniest shift in direction at the start will determine where the journey leads. A thought held clearly in those opening moments sets a trajectory. Subsequent thoughts may adjust the path, but the original direction remains influential. When you choose a thought of abundance, harmony, or success in the first seconds of awareness, you place yourself on a path that corresponds to that state. The universe begins sending you the ideas, opportunities, and encounters that match that trajectory. This is not a matter of hurried thinking or forcing yourself to act quickly. It is a matter of cultivating awareness so that the first thought naturally aligns with what you desire. It is learning to let your automatic responses be rooted in faith rather than fear. Over time, this becomes effortless, a natural way of thinking. The mind becomes trained to form its earliest thoughts with clarity and strength, and the universe becomes swift in responding because the signals it receives are consistent and undivided. Creation begins not when the manifestation appears, not when effort is applied, but when the first thought is born. In that moment, a blueprint is formed. The invisible realm begins constructing the framework. The energies begin aligning, whether you realize it or not. The first 7 seconds carry the essence, the command, and the direction of that blueprint. They are the birthplace of every outcome. Every word spoken with conviction becomes a command to the unseen, because words are not merely sounds that dissolve into the air. They are spiritual forces that shape the substance of reality. When spoken with certainty, they carry the imprint of belief, the vibration of intention, and the authority of inner alignment. A wavering word holds little power, but a word spoken from a place of absolute knowing becomes a decree that the universe must obey. In the unseen realm, conviction is recognized as law, and whatever is declared with genuine certainty sends forth a signal that rearranges conditions, influences outcomes, and opens pathways that were previously invisible. Conviction is the element that gives a word its creative potency. Without conviction, words float lightly, easily blown away by doubt or fear. But when conviction fills a word, it becomes weighty, grounded, and magnetic. The unseen responds not to the volume of a word, but to the energy behind it. A soft-spoken declaration rooted in faith carries more power than a loud proclamation filled with uncertainty. The moment a word is charged with belief, it becomes active, alive, and directive, calling forth the circumstances that correspond to its nature. In the invisible laws that govern creation, words infused with conviction operate like commands issued by a skilled conductor to an unseen orchestra. The instruments may be hidden from sight, the people, events, and opportunities that must move into place. But the command itself is unmistakable. The unseen forces respond instantly, beginning to organize themselves according to the tone, clarity, and authority of the spoken declaration. A person who speaks with conviction does not speak to reality as it is, but to reality as they intend it to be, and the universe bends toward that intention. When conviction is present, there is no internal contradiction. The mind is not divided, the heart does not hesitate, the emotional body is not tangled in fear. The inner world aligns as one, and this alignment gives the spoken word the strength of a straight, unobstructed current. This is why a single sentence spoken with faith can override years of doubtful thinking. Certainty compresses energy into a focused beam, and that beam becomes a directive to the creative substance of the universe. It is not effort that gives a word power, it is inner unity. The unseen realm does not interpret words the way human beings do. It does not evaluate grammar, mood, or tone. It interprets the feeling, the belief, the emotional charge carried by the words. If a person speaks of abundance while secretly fearing lack, the unseen receives the fear rather than the words. But when a person speaks of abundance with the calm assurance that it is already theirs by divine right, the universe receives that statement as truth. The conviction within the speaker becomes the blueprint the unseen must follow. A word spoken with conviction carries the energy of finality. It does not ask, it asserts. It does not plead, it declares. It does not hope, it knows. This knowing creates a vibrational imprint that begins drawing its matching form. The universe does not resist conviction. It yields to it. It molds, shifts, and adjusts itself to bring the spoken command into expression. The moment the words are released with certainty, the unseen begins moving, often in ways beyond human understanding. People often underestimate the power of their speech because they speak habitually rather than consciously. They utter phrases without recognizing that every sentence is planting a seed in the invisible. When spoken with conviction, whether positive or negative, these seeds sprout and take root. A fearful statement voiced with strong emotion can create conditions just as quickly as a faithful declaration spoken with calm assurance. This is why guarding the tongue becomes essential to shaping one's life intentionally. Conviction does not require drama or intensity. True conviction is calm, steady, and unshakable. It is the quiet certainty of one who knows the law is on their side. When such a person speaks, the universe does not hear desperation, it hears direction. The unseen responds as though a command has been issued, because from the perspective of spiritual law, conviction is a command. It signifies that the speaker is aligned with the truth they are declaring. A word spoken with conviction becomes a living force that continues working even when the speaker forgets it. It travels into the unseen, attracting people, circumstances, and opportunities that match its nature. It influences the subconscious mind, planting a firm instruction that shapes thoughts, actions, and attitudes. It moves through the energetic field, altering the vibration of the environment. The spoken word, once released with certainty, cannot be recalled. It sets creation in motion. To speak with conviction is to speak from the place of already receiving. It is to declare the invisible as though it were visible, the unformed as though it were formed. The unseen does not distinguish between imagination and reality. It responds to the certainty with which the word is spoken. The moment a word is wrapped in faith, it becomes a command that the universe accepts without argument. Alignment, not force, determines manifestation because the universe does not respond to struggle, tension, or frantic effort. It responds to the inner state from which one acts. True creation begins within, long before any action is taken, long before any plan is formed, long before any step is made. When the mind, heart, and energy are aligned in a single direction, reality bends effortlessly to meet that state. When they are divided, no amount of effort can compensate. Alignment is the silent architecture behind every outcome, the unseen structure that supports all visible success. Force is loud, draining, and rooted in fear. Alignment is quiet, powerful, and rooted in trust. The universe reads the energy behind the intention, not the intensity of the struggle. When a person is aligned, they are in harmony with the desire they hold. Their thoughts support it, their emotions welcome it, and their actions naturally follow the path of least resistance. There is no internal battle, no contradiction between what they want and what they believe is possible. In this state, manifestation becomes a flow rather than a fight. The universe responds quickly because there is no opposing signal to interfere. The desire is clear, the belief is steady, and the emotional frequency is open. Everything works together. Everything moves in the same direction. Everything resonates. Force, in contrast, is a sign of inner conflict. It reveals that part of the mind doubts, part of the heart fears, or part of the energy resists. A person trying to force an outcome sends mixed messages into the unseen. One moment believing, the next moment doubting. One moment hoping, the next moment fearing. Force tries to overpower the unseen, but the unseen cannot be coerced. It reflects the internal state precisely. When the internal reality is divided, the external reality becomes tangled, delayed, or blocked. This is not punishment. It is simply mirroring. Alignment is the condition where desire and belief match. It is the state where the inner world agrees with the outer intention. In alignment, a person no longer tries to make something happen. They become the version of themselves for whom the desire is natural. They think from the desire, feel from the desire, speak from the desire, and act from the desire. The universe responds because the individual is no longer asking for something outside themselves. They are embodying the vibration of what they seek. Manifestation is not about pulling something toward you. It is about matching the frequency of what is already waiting. Force attempts to move life from the outside in. Alignment moves life from the inside out. When aligned, a person's energy does the work, not their physical effort. Opportunities appear, ideas arrive, and paths open because the individual is now attuned to the frequencies where those possibilities live. They notice what they once ignored. They attract what they once repelled. They step into synchronicities that seem magical but are simply the natural consequence of inner harmony. Inner alignment creates an energetic coherence that sends a single unified message into the creative field. That message becomes a magnet, drawing experiences that resonate with it. Instead of pushing against obstacles, aligned individuals find that obstacles dissolve or transform into stepping stones. Instead of feeling drained by their efforts, they feel guided, supported, and uplifted. Their actions become inspired rather than strained, purposeful rather than frantic. Inspired action has a power that forceful action can never achieve. The universe is sensitive to vibration, and alignment produces a steady, clear vibration that does not contradict itself. A person aligned with abundance feels abundant even before the evidence appears. A person aligned with love radiates love before the relationship arrives. A person aligned with success carries the energy of success before the achievement materializes. This inner state becomes the cause, and the outer world responds. Force often disguises itself as determination, but determination rooted in fear is merely resistance in motion. True determination is a byproduct of alignment. It is effortless because it is fueled by certainty rather than desperation. When aligned, a person does not push, they move with the current. They do not chase, they attract. They do not cling, they trust. They do not panic, they observe. They do not plead, they declare. Alignment requires honesty with oneself. It requires acknowledging what one truly believes, releasing what contradicts the desire, and cultivating the emotional state that matches the intended outcome. It requires letting go of the need to control every detail, and instead trusting that the unseen intelligence can arrange things far better than any forced effort could. This trust is not passive, it is receptive. It opens the door for manifestation to unfold with elegance and precision. When thought, emotion, and energy unite, manifestation becomes natural. The universe responds to alignment because alignment reflects understanding of the law, like attracts like. It is never the force of the push that creates the result. It is the harmony of the inner frequency with the outer desire. Faith-filled declarations shape outcomes with divine precision because faith is the invisible architect that arranges the unseen into perfect order. When a declaration is spoken from a place of unwavering trust, it becomes more than a statement. It becomes a spiritual decree that the universe begins to organize itself around. Faith gives the word its structure, its power, its authority. It acts like a mold into which the creative substance of life pours itself, forming circumstances that match the vibration of the one who speaks. Without faith, words are empty shells. With faith, they are instruments of creation. Faith is the force that tells the universe, "This is already done," and the universe, recognizing the certainty in that statement, answers accordingly. A declaration rooted in faith carries a purity of intention that removes all interference. It does not carry the residue of doubt or the tremor of fear. It is clean, clear, and complete. Such a declaration does not ask for proof, nor does it wait for conditions to become favorable. It establishes the truth first, and the conditions adjust themselves in response. This is why faith-filled speech appears miraculous to those who do not understand the law. The outer world rearranges itself not because of struggle, but because of the authority of a word spoken in alignment with the unseen. Divine precision is not random, nor is it mysterious to the one who trusts fully. Faith works with the exactness of a master craftsman, shaping events with a perfection that human planning alone could never achieve. When a declaration is made with faith, the timing, people, opportunities, and pathways align in ways beyond human calculation. Doors that appeared closed swing open. Solutions that seemed impossible reveal themselves. Events synchronize with uncanny harmony. This is not coincidence. It is the natural consequence of a word spoken from the conviction that the outcome is already secured. Faith-filled declarations do not depend on circumstances. They create circumstances. They do not echo what is visible. They announce what is true in the unseen. They do not describe conditions. They command them. This kind of speech originates from the inner knowing that the universe is responsive, intelligent, and governed by laws that answer certainty more swiftly than effort. A person who speaks with faith does not look to the world for evidence. They look within, find the conviction, and express it. The universe mirrors the conviction, not the environment from which the declaration was spoken. The power of a faith-filled declaration lies in its emotional resonance. It is infused with the feeling of the fulfilled desire. The speaker does not merely say the words, they embody them. Faith carries the emotional imprint of completion, and this emotional imprint becomes a magnet. It draws to itself experiences that reflect the inner state. When the feeling and the words match, the universe receives a clear command. Divine precision activates, arranging everything necessary for the outcome to unfold. People often underestimate the role emotion plays in shaping reality, but emotion is the carrier of belief. Faith is not merely a thought, it is a felt conviction. When the feeling behind the declaration is firm, steady, and assured, the word becomes unstoppable. This is why faith-filled declarations spoken calmly often manifest more quickly than declarations spoken forcefully. Faith has no need for force. It operates from certainty, and certainty is quiet, deliberate, and commanding. Such declarations create ripples in the unseen. They influence not only the energetic field around the speaker, but also the subconscious mind within. The subconscious is the gateway through which faith becomes form, and it accepts any statements spoken with emotion and belief. When a faith-filled declaration is made, the subconscious takes it as instruction, adjusting thoughts, habits, perceptions, and actions to align with the declared outcome. As the inner world shifts, the outer world responds, mirroring the new internal reality with divine accuracy. Faith-filled declarations also override old patterns. They silence the voice of fear, dissolve the weight of limitation, and replace uncertainty with spiritual authority. When a person speaks in faith, they speak from the truth of their divine identity, not from the limitations of circumstance. Their word carries the recognition that they are not separate from the creative intelligence that governs the universe. This unity is what gives the word its power. The one who speaks with faith is not hoping to be heard. They know they are heard. Divine precision ensures that the result of the faith-filled declaration is not merely what the person wants, but what aligns perfectly with their highest good. The universe delivers outcomes with an intelligence that sees beyond the moment. It arranges events with a wisdom that understands timing, sequence, protection, and expansion. Faith trusts this wisdom. It does not rush. It does not force. It declares and allows the law to fulfill its work. A faith-filled declaration is not a reaction. It is a creation. It is the choice to speak truth before truth is visible, to claim the outcome before the evidence appears, and to hold firm even when appearances contradict. The universe responds not to appearances but to the conviction beneath the declaration. Faith-filled words are seeds carrying the blueprint of the harvest, and once spoken, the unseen begins shaping the path with unwavering precision.